trying to turn off the sound that you're seeing me because I was gonna. Okay, take 2 and action. Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not, and done it. We reached the final movie in Sam Raimi's filmography. That I have seen Multiverse of Madness, but I'm waiting for the Blu-ray to come out so I can rewatch it again and give my review. I couldn't rank it right now, but I think I'm gonna wait and give it another watch just in case. But we have Oz, the Great and Powerful. I bought this movie from. This is a story. One of the rare times I actually rented this movie. So I grew up lifelong fan of the original Wizard of Oz, and I grew up with the Wizard of Oz in concert. Dreams Come True or whatever it's called. I'm gonna have to do a retro rewind on that at some point because it's technically a TV thing, or maybe even Scotty TV. Who knows? Not a TV show, but I don't know what categorized as. More retro rewind thing, but because that was a big part of my childhood, was that special. And if it's still on YouTube, I'd like to kind of go back to that. But I grew up with Wizard of Oz. I didn't see Return of Oz until a couple of years ago on Disney Plus, and I have the DVD now, which we'll do in December. But this I rented to see how it was, and I liked it so much I bought it, and it was funny. So they have these, when they found a video, they had them sitting out to buy stuff. So I rented it, and I took this back, I put the one I rented back, and I went and grabbed, and I bought another copy from Family Video. You can see it has the label on there. This is a good movie, I think. I think it's a good movie. James Franco plays Oz. I'm not going to read off his whole name, but his name's Oz. Just like, he's a fake magician, wizard, doing charlatan tricks in Kansas when he is blown away in his hot air balloon and finds himself in the land of Oz. And we get the origin story of the Wizard of Oz, basically. So there is one thing, like I say this every time, but I'm not a big fan of prequels, but this one gets me. Because where certain things are going, by the end of this, he's going to set up this whole thing where, it's the smoke and mirrors thing, and he is undoubtedly the almighty Wizard of Oz. And you see the origin stories for the 2 Wicked Witches as well, even though there is sort of a continuity error with one of them. As much as they try to keep some continuity, there are some errors, and we'll get to that. But overall, I think that Sam Raimi did a good job with this. So we start in Kansas, and they, again, I props to Sam Raimi. He goes back to the original. He makes it black and white. Not only that, but he makes it in a 4:3 aspect ratio. However, I do have to complain, because maybe when you were in the theater and saw this, it looked okay. But on DVD, they insist on putting it in widescreen. And they keep it in widescreen while it's in 4:3. So instead, you get a little box in the middle of your screen. And I remember watching this and it's stopping at the widescreen and thinking, this would look so much better. Like, I get it. For some reason, I don't get it, but for some reason, movies have to be in widescreen, even though they would look a lot better in HD if they fit the entire fucking screen. But I don't know. They're too lazy to stretch it out. When they're on cable TV, they stretch them out. But, I've seen this on TNT before. Or Sci-Fi, and it fits the entire screen when it's in color. I liked it because it's in black and white. And when he gets to Oz, the screen stretches out and it becomes in color, and it's pretty cool. And also, That's one thing they carried over. Another thing they carried over is that certain characters in Oz resembled those from the real world. In the real world, we have Frank, Oz's assistant, who I believe is named after Frank L. Baum, who wrote the Wizard of Oz books. He's played by Zach Braff, and in the other world we have a monkey named Finley, also voiced by Zach Braff. And in the real world, Oz calls Frank his little monkey boy, a little pet monkey or whatever. So, yeah, there's a little girl played by Joey King, who wants Oz to fix her legs because she's in a wheelchair to make her walk. And then in Oz, she's a China doll girl whose legs are literally broken, and he has to glue them back on. Michelle Williams, in the real world, plays Annie, an ex-girlfriend of Oz's, who's going to marry a man with the last name of Gale. I forgot his name. Is it like Fred Gale or John Gale, I think. Hinting that she could be Dorothy's mother. And now, so, when you think of the timeline, now, Disney's not allowed to use Dorothy after the debacle of Return to Oz, which I still say is a decent film. But, even though that does have a continuity error, because Dorothy was at least 16 when she went to Oz in the original, and Fairuza Balk was like 10, so maybe younger. No, there's just continuity errors in that. But I'm going by the continuity of the original here. So, and it's been said that this takes place 20 years before the events of the original film. So, I'm guessing if she was at least 16, there's 4 years or so before she's born. So this would be a decent timeline. She runs out with John Gale. They get married. They have Dorothy a few years later. And then, 16 years later. Nothing is mentioned what happened to her parents. I'm assuming they died. And she lives with her Aunt Em and Uncle Henry. Who knows? But we don't get that here. Oz is a womanizer. So when the strong man accuses him of going to his girlfriend, so he is swept away in a tornado because it's Wizard of Oz. Tornado. He never says it was a tornado in the original. He just says that he didn't know how to work the thing, so he got swept away, which would have played better if that was the case. If he tried to use it to escape, didn't know how to work it, and got swept away, that would play more into the whole he was destined to come there thing. Because there's a prophecy where a wizard with the same name as their world, Oz, would show up and save them from the evil witch. First witch he meets is Theodora, played by Mila Kunis, who ends up being a Wicked Witch of the West in the original story, and she looks normal here. She looks like this. And Mila Kunis is the weakest part of this movie. I'm saying it. I don't understand. There are times, like when I hear her talking, I hear Meg from Family Guy. Like if it's especially when she becomes the Wicked Witch, and she's off screen, and it's obviously a voiceover. To me, I hear Meg from Family Guy. That's all I get. She's like a Wizard of Oz version of Meg. That's just what I hear. I don't know what. I know she is Meg on Family Guy, but this just I don't know. It comes off weird to me. You have Rachel Weisz as Evanora, or the Wicked Witch of the East, if you're going by, And there's a continuity error with her later that doesn't really make sense. There's a continuity error with the books, where in this one, Glinda the Good, she is the daughter of the king, which in the books it was Ozma, and Ozma is in the Return to Oz. But, yeah. Much like Dorothy, he meets others. He meets the China doll, he meets Finley, the China doll, and there's Nook, who is actually secretly working for Glinda. They tell him Glinda is the evil witch, but he soon finds out that she's not. And I do like that there's also parallels to the human versions of the characters, where in the real world, well, Annie and Frank knew that he was a fake. And here, Glinda and Finley are the ones that know that he's a fake. And then later a couple more, but still, that's that connection. Also, I want to point out this is the first of 2 roles in which Michelle Williams will be playing a character named Annie. Just saying, Anne, we have to get Anne back. And then he tater tots and chocolate. Yes, I'm talking about Venom. No, I do not know what that noise is. It's over there somewhere, air conditioner. I don't know what it is. But, yeah. And so, Theodora is in love with the wizard, but he takes off to find Glinda, and then because of subterfuge from her sister, Evanora, turns her into the Wicked Witch of the West that we know, and she looks terrible because it's mostly CGI. I know there's some kind of makeup on her, but it doesn't look right. I don't know. I don't think Mila Kunis was the right choice. I mean, I don't know. She just doesn't look right. And then all of a sudden, like, this whole thing, she believed her sister was good, and then now all of a sudden she's turned into this creature. She now believes that she now is totally evil and all this. She has fire, and Evanora has the lightning stuff, which at first I thought was a retcon, but then they explain it later. And yeah, Oz is unsure what to do because he needs an army to fight the Wicked Witches, but he has tinkers and farmers, and yeah, and munchkins, yeah, and there is continuity here too, with the farmers end up being the one who create the Scarecrow, the tinkers are the ones that end up creating the Tin Man, and there is a encounter with a lion earlier that runs away after he uses the red puff powder smoke and stuff. So yeah, there's callbacks. But he's a little, confused on what he needs to do, even though Glinda seems to have faith in him. He doesn't, because he knows he's a fake. He knows that he's not the one. He believes that anyway. But they set up this whole thing, and here's a continuity error. They say that the field of poppies is automatically sleepy. Makes you sleepy automatically here. They're like, you can't go in the field of poppies, you'll fall asleep. He's like, maybe we won't have to. And I'm like, that is a continuity error, because in the original film, they weren't inherently sleepifying. Like, the Wicked Witch of the West casts a spell on them. She does it over the sleep. She casts a spell to make it do that. They weren't already like that. Here, the poppy fields just make you fall asleep. And not only does that not make sense, because anyone who goes to the castle would fall asleep, even if they're just walking. That makes no sense. But if that was the case, don't you think that the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man would already know that that's what the poppy fields do? Seeing as they're knowledgeable of. And even if they didn't, don't you think Glinda would say something? Oh, dear, following a big robo, if you get to puppies, go around to make you fall asleep. No, very obviously the Wicked Witch makes them sleepy. Although Glinda is the one that saved the day, so maybe she doesn't care if they fall asleep. She just make it snow. It's the weather will have it in it. But I'm just saying. And obviously they weren't already sleep magic on them. I'm just saying. Here they do because of plot convenience. And then we get a subterfuge where it looks like Oz is going to fly away in his balloon, followed by another continuity error. Wicked Witch of the West fireballs it, destroying it. But in the original, he still has the balloon. So at some point, does he rebuild the balloon? And knows there's 20 years between that. Does he rebuild the balloon? But, or what? But it seems like that's the same balloon. That's what it seems like. The way he tells his story is that it was the same balloon and he just had it all this time. So that doesn't really make any sense either. But yeah, because of this, he pretends that he becomes the all-powerful Wizard of Oz with a smoke machine that doesn't make him look green. Like in the original. Maybe he created a different one later. I don't know. But yeah, and he fools them and thinks he's all-powerful. And then Glinda shows she's an ass kicker, even though if she could do this, why doesn't she help Dorothy later? Did she just get lazy? If she can kick ass with a scepter, I don't know. But she ends up ripping this necklace off of Evanora, turning her into a Wicked Witch-looking creature, and it's a continuity error because in the original, the Wicked Witch of the East looked exactly the same as the Wicked Witch of the West, hence why they were sisters, because we see the transformation from a Myra Gush to the Wicked Witch of the East. And if you're saying, oh no, that was the Wicked Witch of the West, well, no, it makes much more sense that was the Wicked Witch of the East, because she's in a tornado, then the house falls on her. And that makes much more sense. So, she looked exactly the same. It was the same makeup. But here, she's not even green, really. It's like a tint, maybe. There's a tint of green. But there's not green. And she looks totally different. I don't know if maybe they were... I don't know. And it would make much more sense if she looked the same. Seeing as it was her magic to turn her sister into that, maybe she made her look just like her. But they wanted to differentiate for some reason, and it just doesn't make any sense of continuity. But whatever, they are banished from the Emerald City, and the wizard has to pull out the subterfuge because everyone thinks the wizard's actually dead, and he's now all-powerful wizard thing. And we see that his confidants are Glinda. We'll circle back to her. They're Finley, the monkey, the China girl, the Tinker, Nook, Sourpuss. Name is Nook. And Glinda, who... could I call that a continuity error? Glinda knew the whole time he was a fake. In a way, you could say that because when she shows up at the end, she doesn't freak out saying, "Oh, you're not real?" No, okay, so that's probably not continuity error. She probably knew. So, yeah, okay, I'll take that. And then I have to be romantic, like they smooch. So it's like, okay, and then I don't know. This scene is like, oh hey, let's be like the Wizard of Oz now, where he gives out gifts. So he gives the China girl a family. This is very much Wizard of Oz stuff. He gives the Tinker his Swiss Army knife, which he doesn't have a name for, because he just made it together. He gives Nook a smile. He gives Finley a friendship, because throughout the film he says he has no friends. Even if Frank is like, you're just my monkey boy. And now he has his first friend. And then he takes Glinda behind the curtain and smooches her with delight. And there's a running gag where Nook keeps trying to play his horn, and they won't let him. And here he finally gets to do it. Before I give my rating and overall thoughts, Bruce Watch. Bruce Campbell plays one of the Winky Guards. Which, yeah, they have named in the Winky Guards in this. Yes, he's one of the Winky Guards. But also, I noticed some other cameos in this. Ted Raimi is at the show at the beginning, and he yells out, "I saw a wire!" Ellen Sandweiss, who played Cheryl in The Evil Dead, has a cameo. I noticed her. And I think I also noticed the one who played Linda in the original as well. I think she's there. So, Evil Dead connection, right? Yeah. Overall, I thought this was a decent prequel, and I don't say that much about prequels, but I thought this was actually pretty good. I thought I was going to go away thinking, oh, it's a middle of the road, but I'd actually say, when it comes to Oz the Great and Powerful, it's pretty good. So, put it on the stack. I'm officially done. Tell Multiverse of Madness, but we'll get that'll come around eventually. So, what are your thoughts on Oz the Great and Powerful? Leave a comment below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Watching. Okay. Again, Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.